Hey, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Brits never on time must be putting what? I think British people have a fairly good reputation of being on time. I was like 30 seconds late. I'm deeply offended by that. Let's get an audio check. Let's take a look and make sure everything is okay. Don't want to have a dodgy live stream after I begin. All good? Yeah. Can we? Can someone just say audio is good so I know that I can calm down? I'm not gonna calm down. Go. All right. Okay. I think we've. All right. So Bitcoin's okay. Well, we have some things to talk about today. First off, let me just pull up the notes. Sound good? Thank you very much, guys. All right. So, guys. Okay. First thing we need to cover. Hit up the Bitstamp chart now because I've got a few. I've got less lines on. In fact, I've got no lines on here. And the first thing I want to tell you guys is since the since the $5,000 to $5,500 sideways trading range, we have gone literally parabolic. We have gone from $5,500 from $5,500 up to a high of $7,600 in the space of. In the space of 9 days. Okay, so literally just over a week, we have added 33% to Bitcoin's value and an additional $2,000. Okay, British Rail, right? Yeah. The British Rail services are absolutely fucking disgusting. We have added $2,000 to the price of Bitcoin in the space of 9 days. It is a bloody parabolic run. Can we please stop panicking over things like this? I mean, from $7,600 down to $6,700. Like, can we just bear in mind we've literally gone from $3,000 to $7,000? Pulling back by something like $600 to $700 is not a big deal. We are way overextended already. I still think we should have topped out at $6,000. That would have been the healthiest thing for this trend. Guys, what I was telling you yesterday or the day before in the line, no, it was yesterday. What I was telling you yesterday with my short-term analysis when we were trading right over here, I was making the video right over here. I was telling you guys that in the short term, we have the strength to rise higher. And I did say I think that could happen, but I also said that would not be a good thing. So yes, we did end up breaking to 7,600, and yes, your dream to get a Lambo has come a few inches closer, although it is still miles away, but it is not healthy for the trend because it is just absolutely all over the place, guys. For the most part, traditional TA that worked before does not work now. I got the brunt end of that because I thought we would top out at $6,000. I think very rightly so. I would make the same prediction every single time had I been in the same position. If this repeated 10 times, I would still tell you I think we top out at $6,000 because it's the logical place that it would happen. Yet the TA was completely useless in this case, and we rocketed up by another $1,600, right? And so at a time like this, where we have gone parabolic, we are getting some pullbacks. Now, there are some things to be reading into this pullback. The first thing I want to talk about are all of these wicks, all right? We're on the 1 hour chart, and we are finding some trouble with these wicks, okay? When we're being pushed to these low levels, we've got bulls that are very ready to step back in and buy the price of Bitcoin higher. Now, obviously, we are still overall in what I would call a falling wedge, and of course, you guys know what happens after patterns like this. It's typically just a bit of a pause in the trend before we rally on higher. These happen on different time frames, and so we've already had a bunch of these happening, and I've even pointed them out for you. Mainly, they have been bull flags, and so a bull flag is where we just kind of trade sideways a little bit, and then we carry higher, and then we trade sideways again, and we're higher. We form a bull flag, we're higher, but this time we're just in a bit of a falling wedge as far as I can see it, before we do rally higher. That said, it is really difficult to say, and this is purely like if I close my eyes to what's happening on this side of the chart, if I close my eyes to the actual pricing, and if I literally just look at this, it's obviously telling me it's going to continue higher because the trend is undoubtedly higher. We're setting higher high after higher high and higher low after higher low. With that in mind, the trend is most likely going to continue, like I said, if we ignore what's happening on the right side of the chart here. And so we have just got a typical continuation pattern. Now, like I said, these happen on different time frames, and so the previous ones wouldn't have been too long. They only last a couple of hours at most. This one lasted 5 hours. How much did the next one last? A little bit longer. That's 5, but it should be something like 7 or 8 hours. And then the one before 8 to 9 hours, okay? And so this one has already gone on for a decent amount of time. We're already up at the 8th hour, and we don't know if we're actually going to break higher yet, or if we even will at all. But is my disclaimer off? Yeah, I think it is. And so, at a time like this, we are seeing that not only is the continuation pattern taking longer to form, but it's also being a lot more extreme. It makes sense. You know, we have rallied extremely hard, extremely high. It has literally been parabolic. And so logic, TA, various different things like that are literally thrown right out of the window. I have a lot to say about things like that. Let's just... okay, so I've covered the panicking thing. Okay, and obviously, like, don't get upset by this. I mean, I don't know why anyone would be getting upset by this. We've literally just come from $3,000 and we're already pushing 7 again, you know? Like, it's not anything to be concerned about the way I see it. We need to retain... okay, like, obviously the rest of the crypto market is still going to be, you know, running around like headless chickens and shit, losing their shit over like a $600 dump after we pumped $2,000, but being rational traders and rational analysts, let's try and rein that in a little bit, and bear in mind that unless market structure is broken, which would probably mean going below 5,000 or going below 5,500, unless market structure like that is broken, this does look like it could be bullish for the short term. You know, what I was telling you guys before we broke this level is that, before we broke 6k, is that if we do break 6k, I would think that, you know, I mean, this is gargantuan resistance. If we break 6k, I would think that, you know, the bull market is all but completely confirmed, but much more so than that, it would be a lot easier to, well, obviously you have to clear 6 to clear 11,600, and obviously once we clear 11,600, if we clear 11,600, it should be a very, very easy run to the 20k level. This is what I've been saying for a very, very long time. My opinion hasn't changed, but the fact that we did break 6,000 now, and we've gone so much higher than that, tells me that we could be able to expect a little bit of support there, but I'll talk about that in just a second. Price discovery. Okay, so the next thing that I want to cover with you guys is the current levels that we're finding. So obviously I did my TA before I jumped on stream today, and literally every minute that passed, my TA was even more irrelevant, and so I had to very quickly do it again just before I came live for you today. But the deal is, when we were a little bit higher, the point I wanted to make is that levels like this where we traded sideways can be significant for Bitcoin, and so this means a potential bottom in the temporary market we could find at 69.50. Obviously that failed, and then the next potential bottom was going to be at the $6,800 level, which we did actually keep. So I don't know if we're going to continue to keep that, but it would make a lot of sense. Now, the reason I'm specifically outlining these levels, and you can see at the middle of this consolidation range, that is exactly where we're getting a little bit of trouble with these candles. Okay, so you can see that we're getting a couple of wicks, we're getting a couple of candle bodies opening and closing right at this bull flag. It was one of the larger bull flags within this little run to the upside. And so naturally, we are finding a little bit more of a struggle to break that level, which is exactly what we would expect. Now, in terms of price discovery, on the way up, we just completely blasted through the levels in the $6,000 range from 2018. You guys will remember I was telling you guys that we had a lot of sideways levels, a lot of horizontal lines that could be placed. And so, you know, just to very briefly drop these out, you know, I was giving you things like this. It didn't really matter, but yeah, Bitcoin just didn't give a fuck. It just straight up didn't care. And because of that, I think it's showing us that the 2018 levels are not very significant. And we have now, because we've consolidated on the way up, we've now had much more recent price discovery or much more recent levels that are significant to the trend in the moment. I really did think that the levels from 2018 would be significant, but obviously it just blasted right through them. And so now that we do have consolidation points in 2019, these are the levels to be keeping an eye on. And that is why I was showing you, let's delete all these lines now. That is why I was showing you on the 1 hour chart that these levels could be more significant. So this is the level that I've got my eyes on right now. If we break 6,700 convincingly, i.e. if we drop kind of, let's drop a horizontal line. If we kind of drop below this wick, 6,600, or if we drop below this candle body, 6,650, you know, I think that we are, let's actually, I think it should be the wick. You know, I think we're looking at a pretty easy drop down to at least 6,400. And so this is a nice little gap to be trading. I don't know if I will trade this yet. If I will, of course, VIP members will know what's going on. This is a 2.5% range. Sorry, I just hit my microphone there. A 2.5% range. And I would be trading that on either 10 or 25 times leverage because I'm an absolute fucking degenerate and I do like to make profits that way, and that's something like a 60% profit, so that would be really, really fun. Obviously, I was trading Ethereum already, and I did post this in gold right after my position opened in VIP, so I told VIP members I'd be opening a position on Ethereum, a long position at $188.50 on 10 times leverage, and so within a couple of minutes, I believe it already hit a 23% profit, and then I was giving regular updates, so I was closing 25% of that position in, I don't know what profit this was. I forgot, and then I was giving more regular updates, so right, so that was a 60% profit that I closed the quarter in, and then, you know, it even went up to an 80% profit, and that's again where I was updating VIP members that I'd be closing an additional 10% of that position. So if you want to get access to all of this information in real time, where I'm entering a position, the exact numbers, the leverage I'm using, where my stop loss is going to be, but then also the real-time updates on where I'm closing those positions to be taking profits, or if it's a loss to cut the loss, and various different things like that. If you want to see exactly how I'm trading to the damn numbers, hit up the first link. Where is it? Oh god. Hit up the first link in the description down below. Click on the @4flies in the 4flies Gold channel. We're about to hit 75 members. So, sorry, 7,500 members. So huge shout out to you guys for being in there. You guys are getting these updates as well. And so you would have already seen, what was it? This post that I posted in gold, you know, I believe this was a gold, I actually can't remember, a gold member who, you know, like I said, if Bitcoin stabilizes, Ethereum would be going up. I even shared this in gold before I entered this position, and so, you know, we do have a lot of people making profits just by being in the free channel, and then do click on the @4flies and click send message. My assistant is there right now, so you can ask for the information right now while you're watching and listening to my amazing voice, and you will get all the information that you need about VIP. Now, going back to the chart analysis, the next thing I want to cover for you guys, okay, so I've outlined these two potential levels, a potential trade that I may be taking on. Now, the main support area at this point could be anywhere between 6,250 and the high 6,300s, maybe just 6,400 on the dot. I wouldn't really place bets for as to where that may be. It looks like it's kind of finding trouble right at the middle, but it's wicking like all the way to the bottom anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And that's a case of taking past behavioral analysis, you know, where the wicks are going, the behavior of the wicks, taking that analysis into account, and then stretching that downwards. I'm going to go through your questions in just a bit, guys, but I do have a lot of other things I want to go through. As we're going through this, though, please do drop your questions, and just type out your question, starting with text like this, so I can very easily see what you're asking, and then I can make sure I answer it. Okay, fib retracements. So this is for as to where this little dump could stop. Now, I think there's a decent chance it's already stopped, and that we could be ready to rise higher, but I don't actually know. And so I want to draw a fib retracement. Now, there are a couple of places we can draw fib retracements. We can draw it from the bottom of this consolidation range, and we get the 618 level right at $5,800. So this was an expected level to find some resistance. And of course, we would have a case, most likely, I would hope anyway, of resistance flipping to support. The reason I hope this happens is because it just makes trading really nice and easy and simple. Again, throughout this entire video so far, have you seen a single indicator? Have you seen a single horizontal line or anything of the sort? No. And it is very, very simply because I like to stick to the simple analysis. And so we are already seeing resistance levels flip to support within this little falling wedge. So it is telling us that Bitcoin right now has the behavioral pattern of respecting previous resistance as support, and so that can give us levels to eye for long. So 5,800 over there, the 786 level also lines up with 5,400. So again, we've got some levels lining up, but on the whole, I don't think this is really good to go off. And so I did extend this Fibonacci down to where the pump initiated. You guys remember I even called this pump to the upside. I told you guys we didn't have a dump at the time where we really should have. And so I did expect we were very bullish for the next little bit of time. And if we do extend our Fibonacci down here, it's amazing how well it plays out. We've now got the 786 level right at the $4,800 level. This is exactly where I drew the Fibonacci from literally a second ago. And so you can see how beautifully these numbers line up. Again, the 618 level right at the $5,400 level. We've now got the 382 level telling us that we might be able to find some support at the 6,250 level. And this is the only other area of consolidation that we had on the way up. So we could be expecting a bounce a little bit like that. That is something I would be keen on seeing. I may even decide to take on some long positions down at these levels. Perhaps, momentum shorting this little gap between these two yellow lines. And then taking on a long position at this line. And then letting it carry me higher. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. I need to see how we go down to these levels before I start to trade those things. But it is beautiful how the Fibonacci levels are lining up with all of these prior levels which we have had of interest. Of course, the 0.5 level also lining up with 5,800. I mean, these numbers really are magical. It's almost like a unicorn just drops down into our world and gives us this beautiful tool called the Fibonacci retracement, and it's completely free, and it makes a shitload of money. Let's go down to the $3,100 level and extend the Fibonacci one more time. I don't think this one is too significant. It's not really the 618 level, the 382 level. These are important levels, but I don't think they are so important given previous trading action. They don't really fall at significant levels. You can look at where this line was. We only had a couple of touches at 4,800, and we didn't have much at the $5,800 level as well. And given that the 618 and 382 levels are the most important levels, what I look for to validate, a Fibonacci retracement is seeing if prior price consolidation lines up with the Fibonacci. And that is why I was telling you that drawing the Fibonacci from this level, for example, does look really, really good, or in fact drawing it from 4,800. Let's actually take it down to 33. I'm tempted to see what's over there. And we've definitely got a better formation this time around. So 5,950 is the other area of resistance I was telling you guys I'd expect we would find. And of course, I did tell you I thought we would break it anyway. God, I'm too caffeinated today. I did tell you guys I thought we would break 5,950 anyway. Obviously, I didn't expect we'd break it this bloody hard. And then the 618 level lines up with the $5,000 area of support as well. So the purpose of this is that no matter where you draw the Fibonacci's, all of these prior consolidation levels do look like areas of significance for Bitcoin. And I may be tempted to long them depending on what the trend tells me. It really depends on how Bitcoin respects the more significant support areas. Mainly, of course, also, like I said, we're not really respecting what happened in 2018. But I would still like to see how we treat the point of control in the chart right here, which does kind of fall in line with the $63 up to $6,500 level. I want to see how we respect that on the way down if we even go that low. If we just kind of plunge right through it, then I won't have much confidence that these levels will hold, because really it should be strong support, and it can be the case that it's no resistance, but it turns out to be support. It's rare, but I think it can be the case, and so my eyes will be on seeing what's happening over there. That's the Fibonacci retracement, and guys, I'm only halfway through what I wanted to say. Levels to top out 7,500. Right, okay, so let's talk about where we topped out. So we topped out at about 7,600, and we cleared the previous little rally we had. We cleared the final rally we had before we had our event of... sorry, just got a text there. Invited out to a dinner. I want to go. It's a steak. I can't think of anything apart from steak now. God, sorry, this is not professional. 7,300, right? That's where we topped out. Steak is life, though, right? I think that's fair. Anyway. We topped out at $7,300 back in September 2018, but we have cleared that high as well. This is, again, another case where if we clear a high like this, it makes logical sense that we are going to be hitting the next area of significance, which was 8,200 to 8,500. These levels are predefined already. I didn't cover them with you because I genuinely didn't think we would go this high, but 82 to 8,500 is the next level of interest, and we cleared that high, so really... It's surprising that we topped out over here. It doesn't make technical sense. And again, like I said, this is just a time where it's a coin flip. I was talking to Crypto Kirby, and it's like a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is a coin flip in the market. The volatility is there, but in which direction, it's not very easy to tell. We broke this area of resistance and we still got a fairly, a 10% dump. We still got a 10% dump even after we broke this area of consolidation. Now that said, it's a relative area, so 7,500 is that kind of area of resistance, and we did top out right there. So it does make sense with that in mind. But obviously it would have made a lot more sense had we topped out in the $6,000 range. And so with this in mind, it really is the case that we go back to 2018 and we can expect to find resistance at basically any level where there was sideways trading. And so 7,500, we did have a bit of a rising wedge here in the past. We had some support and resistance touches in the past as well. The next kind of significant area is right there at 8,000 and goes all the way up to 8,500. After that, it gets really messy, but we are looking at $9,000. We're looking at the $10,000 level. It gets a bit easier as we go up, and if we clear 10,000, then it's going to be a pretty easy ride up to 11,600. And if we do clear 11,600, that's where I'm going all in YOLO 100x shorting. Longing, my bad. Goodness, I would not be shorting that. I would be 100x longing that with all of my life savings. I don't care if I end up homeless. That would be a rush and it would be really fun. That's where I think we'd be hitting all-time highs. And so, these are the potential levels we can be topping out if we do continue to go higher. I cannot believe I'm even entertaining the idea of even an $8,000 Bitcoin. Even a $7,000 Bitcoin. I can't believe this has actually happened. It's weird. And there are a lot of things, a lot of potential reasons for as to why this has happened. So did I bring up that post? No, I didn't. Okay, so I made a post in gold and it was about the Binance inflows and outflows. So if you want to see that post, hit up the first link in the description right now. Do that right now. Oh, no, don't do that because then you won't hear the live video. But what it was showing is, right when the Binance withdrawals and deposits stopped, Bitcoin started to skyrocket. This was right after the New York Attorney General, said or gave us that FUD kind of piece. A couple days later, Bitcoin started to rally higher. I knew these things wouldn't be significant for the market because news, historically doesn't really end a bear market. What ended the bear market? News historically doesn't. If crypto, if Bitcoin is really rallying really, really hard, news isn't going to be what stops it usually. In fact, I think in almost all cases, and especially at the all-time high, where the only thing that stopped this was CME and CBOE futures trading. So that's the next topic. Let's talk about futures trading, guys. We have the CME gap. Now, I don't know if I can bring it up, and it doesn't really matter. But we have the gap in futures trading, guys. Futures trading stopped at this bull flag. And that's because they trade from Monday to Friday. But it reopens at 6 p.m. EST or something like that. Within the next few hours, it reopens. And it's gonna it'd probably open a lot higher, but the deal is it stopped trading at this level, and so we still have a pretty nasty gap. Now, yesterday that gap was about $1,000, but it's now closed significantly. It's now a gap of something like 600, depending on where we stop fucking around. But either way, it is still a very, very nasty gap. What could happen there? Well, institutional money could be. It's I do believe it's a lot of FOMO driving the market right now. Institutional money could be what is driving the market right now. It's a tricky topic because the deal is institutional players are kind of what stopped the bull market in 2017. We were going parabolic just like we're parabolic right now, although we were a lot more extreme back in 2017, obviously. And when future trading started, they just shorted the life out of it. The difference was it was a time that made sense to short. $20,000 is a very nice round psychological number. Depending on where CME futures will start trading today, is it like a logical time for Bitcoin to start to absolutely plummet lower? I don't know, but we do have that gap to be taking in mind. It could mean that we are ready to see the end of this trend, although I think it's a little bit too early to be calling that, especially because we've only gone down by about 10% after we've rallied basically 2x. It's been a hell of a ride, and so Yeah, I think it's a little bit too early to be making those predictions in particular. Okay, a quick look at the longs chart as well. And yeah, okay, well, I've covered nearly everything. There are a few other things I wanted to mention, but I think now that we're live, I don't need to cover these things. So shorts, let's take a look at the shorts. I actually haven't looked at this in the past couple of hours. Longs are up to 22,000 positions. Shorts are are down to 25,000. So we've got nearly an equal spread right now. I think the one thing I want to mention with regards to this, though, is that all of this move to the upside, this was actually pointed out to me by a fellow VIP member, a really, really good friend. All of the buying, really, up until this point has been happening on, I believe, Chinese or Korean volume. Specifically the exchange Huobi. Now, I don't know if you guys remember Huobi. It's like the hub of shitcoin trading in Korea and that general area of the world. And that is where we've had something like 400 times the average volume of more Western exchanges. So BitMEX, Bitfinex, Coinbase, all of these exchanges that people like you and I who are English speaking are going to be spending our time on, Kraken and whatnot. Huobi had exponentially more volume on the come up than these exchanges. With that in mind, are the shorts and longs significant if the volume of these trades are exponentially lower than what's going on in the east side of the world? Is this still relevant? And to me, the answer is absolutely no. The shorts have now been squeezed. Honestly, I don't think it's been squeezed enough. We had a much bigger squeeze with a much smaller move back in April of 2018. I don't know how many of you guys remember this. It was a bit of a funny time for me because I was having breakfast at Oxford, really enjoying myself, and then of course Bitcoin has to ruin my fun like always. And we got the short squeeze, and this short squeeze was much bigger, and the move was much smaller. And so again, I'm calling into question the validity of saying, you know, oh well, you know, we can't be carrying on lower or whatever, or now we can be carrying on lower simply because the shorts are lower. I don't really think that saying these things makes much sense at all in the market. The longs are climbing a little bit, so if we're gonna do that analysis anyway, then it does mean the odds are a lot more even. I believe the premium on Bitfinex no longer exists, and so that means Bitfinex's prices were much higher than BitMEX, for example. Let's take a look at that. Bitfinex, Bitcoin to the dollar. Switch it on to the 1 hour. In fact, let's go to the 15-minute. And yeah, we're trading at 69.20. And let's take a look at the BitMEX chart overlaid. There was a time where BitMEX was trading at a premium to Bitfinex, whereas previously Bitfinex was trading at a premium to BitMEX. In fact, the whole way up, it was trading at a premium. However, that did flip around a little bit, but right now they are more or less equal. BitMEX is a little bit lower than Bitfinex, so there is still that premium, but these things are being leveled out on the whole, and so perhaps this means we can start to draw a little bit more logic in the market. I don't know, though. It's not like logic has really helped so far. Okay, alright, that is the majority of what I wanted to go through. There are a couple more things, but I think I'll get into that later. Right now, I want to focus on your questions because I love going through them. So, again, do drop your questions if you want to have them answered. I'm going to go through them right from the top now. So, there are a lot of commenters. Guys, by the way, got about 1,000 of you live today. Let's smash up those likes. They are not very high. Audio perfect. Thank you, L. I really do appreciate that. What first, 10k or 5k? What? 5k? Oh my god, can we pretend that didn't happen? 10k or 5k? What's first? That's a really good question, Kiko. I don't know. You know, if we are gonna fail 6,200, then we're almost definitely gonna see 5,000, or rather 55, or somewhere around there. But if this moves to the upside, we are gonna have so much support below us that I think it's gonna be difficult to see 5,000 again. If that happens, 10,000 is very much on the cards. I believe Crypto Kirby made a video about this, like literally a few hours ago, where he was talking about the $10,000 level. So do check that one out. I haven't really felt out the range to the upside yet, so Crypto Kirby would be a better person to watch for that stuff. What have we got? Okay, a few completely irrelevant questions. Obviously, be skipping over those and banning some people there. I love using the ban hammer. I fucking hate so many shit posters in the crypto community. It feels amazing to block them. When Binance opens deposits and withdrawals, will Bitcoin and alts pump or dump? Mighty, I don't know. My guess is it's going to release some of those floodgates. Really, it can go both ways. This is one of those situations where, let's say Binance opens deposits and withdrawals right here, and we rocket to the upside. What are people going to say? They're going to say, when we're all the way up here at $7,700, they're going to say that, you know, when Binance opened up deposits and withdrawals, people were so excited to jump on this euphoric rally that they just deposited more money in and bought. If it turned out that they opened deposits and withdrawals right now and we drop to the downside, it's going to look just as obvious that people were fucking terrified and they wanted to sell with that in mind as well, simply because, you know, they, like I said, they kind of released those floodgates, and that meant we could be selling and withdrawing into fiat. So that's my take on that, really. It's going to look so obvious in both directions. If I had to guess, it depends on what other news comes at that time as well, because I don't think we're just going to get the Binance news. We could be getting something else. Maybe Bitfinex and Tether news wants to peek its head out of the woods again. You know, if we get something like that, and if the Tether news is bearish as well, then, you know, we could be looking at a pretty nasty drop, but it's really unpredictable. I wouldn't be betting something like that. I wouldn't be playing that. What kind of action do I expect when Binance opens tomorrow? Okay, so I didn't know Binance is opening tomorrow. Yeah, I've answered that question already though. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. What else have we got? Yes, okay, great question. You have mentioned bear markets end in a whimper, not with a parabola type move. Could this indicate this couldn't be the end? Yes, absolutely. I don't think the bear market is over, and I know I sound crazy for it, but I also sounded crazy when I was calling for the rise into the 5,000s back at 3,300, and what I told you guys at this time is that I do not want to have the popular opinion. 90% of traders lose 90% of their money in the first 90 days of trading. I do not want to be in the 90%. If I am saying something like the bear market is still not over, and the sentiment I get in response, I use YouTube and Twitter and things like that to gauge sentiment, and the sentiment I'm getting in response is vehemently against me, you can tell from the way these people write and stuff like that, they are career losing traders. I obviously don't want to be on the same side as them. And right now, that's the case. It's exactly the same thing like when I was calling the rise from 3,300. So yes, I don't think the bear market is over. That said, this friend who pointed out to me that the Huobi volume is extremely high, I asked him this, he's a great analyst, I asked him, do you know what, this doesn't seem right to me. Bear markets end with a whimper, and this is not a whimper, this is a cheer. We have people cheering for themselves, and rubbing one out over this chart. This is not how a bear market ends. It ends with everybody saying that this is a sucker's rally. This is not the sentiment we have. And his response was, well, it's Bitcoin, it's crypto, and if anything can go against those words, it is Bitcoin. And I agree with that. And so maybe Bitcoin is going to raise the finger to that particular saying, that bear markets end with a whimper. Maybe Bitcoin is going to raise a finger to that and actually say, you know, it doesn't matter, what you say about me. I'm an independent cryptocurrency and I'll do whatever the hell I want. My crypto, my rights. And so Bitcoin is just going to do whatever the hell it likes with that in mind. Do I think it's the case? No. I still, it's too much positivity and it's too much giving us what we want. No, I don't think that's how it ends. The other thing is the distribution range was June to November. How long was this? Roughly speaking, 152 days. We hit a similar mark when we broke up, all right, 130 days. But what I was telling you, and what we've seen evidence of over and over and over again, is that these ranges are getting longer. The market movements are getting slower. And if these things are getting slower, and if these things are taking longer, yet the distribution range lasted more time than the accumulation range to end the market cycle, does that make sense? And my answer is no. The accumulation range needs to be at least as long as the distribution range, if not at least, I don't know, 10%, 20% longer? We're not getting that, and so that's why I do think we are still going to fall into the $4,000 range at least, and probably even into the $3,000 range. As crazy as it may sound, it does not strike me as the bear market being over. The only thing that says I may be wrong about this is the fact that we now have a very nice potential area of support, between $5,000 and $6,000, which would prevent that from happening. And so potentially we're just going to be trading sideways here for a little bit, and maybe this would be our new accumulation range for a couple of months, and then we rocket higher and we can start talking about all-time highs again. It strikes me as being too perfect. It hurts to say it. And it hurts to, well, it doesn't really hurt that much, but a little bit, it hurts a little bit to know that this is going to crush some of the dreams of Moon Boys and things like that. But, with Rational Sammy talking right now, it doesn't feel like it, man. Ending with a whimper, and this is not a whimper. The other thing is, we go back to 2015, and we already had a rally like this, this has already happened in 2015. Okay, I mean, we replay the chart and it doesn't look like such a big deal, but this is a bloody big rally, this was from the low, this was a 99, this was a 100% gain, okay? If we look at the wick, alright, and we draw this up to the top of the range, which we hit twice, this was a 95% rally. This time, obviously, we've done more than 95%, but we're not looking at exact numbers, we're looking at the characteristics of the market, and the characteristics are repeating. So, again, with that in mind, it's the same thing going on. It's the same thing where there is excitement, and the other thing is, we're supposed to be seeing negativity at the end of a bear market. We're supposed to be seeing disbelief, and but the deal is, people who are holding are always going to be positive about it because, I mean, they're holding it. They have a vested interest, and so why would they feel anything else? It's not very easy to think rationally. So, that's still how I feel about it. Now, unless we start to find some really good support at the $6,000 range, that could change. The good news for me, obviously, is even if I am wrong about this, I wouldn't be trading it. I'm focusing on the much shorter term moves. This is why I was playing this Ethereum long. This member here, again, I forgot if it was VIP or gold, making an 85% profit. And then, of course, I showed you that I was also closing an 80% profit in 4Flies VIP. All of these posts forwarded into gold from VIP, and the proof right there as well. So again, if you want to see exactly how I am trading, where I'm putting my stop loss, but then also getting the weekly altcoin updates, the analysis from the rest of the team, the VIP videos, let's go through this message here. This is one of the messages I got from a VIP member when I closed, I believe, 25% of the position or something, or 10% of the position a little bit earlier than I said I would be closing. This member asked me, why do I close part of my positions at lower prices, even if I'm still expecting it to go up? And it is because the situation is changing. Now, I'm going to be explaining that in much more detail in a VIP video, which I'm going to make right after this live stream is over, because I still have way too much caffeine in my blood. And so I am going to be making a video answering this exact question, and VIP is where you're getting all of these much more in-depth videos. Guys, if you like this live stream, if you've been learning about trading from this, imagine what's in the VIP videos behind the scenes as well. So the way to get in on all of that is by hitting up the first link in the description down below, clicking on the @4Flies button in 4Flies Gold, and then sending a message through. My assistant is right there ready to answer your questions and send you the information you need. Now on to the next question. What do I think of the uncanny similarity between yesterday and October 30th, 2017? Let's take a look at that. So first of all, yesterday what we had was a $1,000 candle to the upside. October 2017, what happened? The end of October, on the 30th, October 30th, 2017. This doesn't look like, there is no uncanny similarity here. What's the guy to do? Can you clarify? I don't know if you're using like the American dating system or something, which is really weird, but I don't see any similarity, so you'll have to be a little bit more specific there. Kevin B, question, with Bitcoin still having some steam left, would you foresee a delay in Ethereum's run? Great question, Kevin. I am extremely bullish on Ethereum. With Bitcoin, guys, with Bitcoin down by 4.5% and Ethereum down by less than that today, Ethereum is actually up in Bitcoin's price. Let's take a look at ETH to Bitcoin, and you're going to see a little bit of a move to the upside today. Oh no, sorry, you're not. Okay, I was completely wrong about that. But with Bitcoin being down by 4.5 and Ethereum down by less than that, it is showing that Ethereum is having more strength in the market right now. That said, Bitcoin has been leading the way right now, and so when Bitcoin is rallying higher, Ethereum and the like are either staying sideways or getting sold off. When Bitcoin cools off though, like I pointed out in this post which was shared to Gold, if Bitcoin stabilizes, I'd be longing Ethereum. This is what I did to be getting this 80% profit. If that happens, I would be very bullish on Ethereum. Now the deal is, let's go back to Kevin's question. With Bitcoin still having some steam left, would I foresee a delay in Ethereum's run? This is a complicated answer. Right now, my answer is yes. If Bitcoin is still ready to set new highs above 7,600, then I think Ethereum is going to be stalling around this price level. I don't think it's going to drop down to the $170 range, although it is still possible. But I do think that that bullish sentiment really still is there within the market, and there is still a lot of room to be rising higher even with that in mind. Now the other thing is that even though Bitcoin may still have some steam left in its tank, or some fuel left in its tank, I do think it's about time that Ethereum can pick up its strength now and and be moving to the outside. I'm laughing at the comments getting caught in the spam filter. And we could, Ethereum could be ready to just move alongside Bitcoin at this point, because it hasn't moved as much as Bitcoin has. And so I do still think that Ethereum has a lot more room to rise. And then the other thing is, I showed you I think kind of hitting like 250 isn't going to be a very difficult thing for Ethereum. And so I am definitely very bullish, and to directly answer you, Kevin, would I foresee a delay in Ethereum's run? Yes, if nothing changes with Bitcoin right now, but I think the chances of that delay are getting a little bit lower. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, that was that. Alright, are we out of questions? No, we're not. Question, any thoughts on Ethereum? Okay, just covered that. So I think the support resistance from 2018 are less powerful than 2019. Eric, yeah, so I said this at the beginning, I believe, of the video, of the live stream. The reason I think that the 2018 levels are less important than the 2019 levels are because in 2019, on the way up, we completely disregarded them. And so we have more recent data to go off now, and the more recent data has already proven to be useful. If we zoom into this time frame now, at the areas where we consolidated in the past, at the areas where we consolidated on the way up, we found some support on the way down. We found a wick that came right down to this level. We found sideways trading that came right at this level. We found more price action that was stalling at this level with more wicks. And right now we are trading directly sideways at the previous bull flag that we had on the way up. All of these moves to the downside are proving that the 2019 resistance that we had is actually stopping us from rising, or rather is being the significant levels that we should be keeping an eye on, not the 2018 levels, because the 2018 levels were still giving us a bit of resistance, but we cleared them really quickly. And obviously the more recent data is always going to matter more. One of the reasons there is the psychological reason. It's a lot easier to see the resistance levels on this chart than it is to zoom out and look at the 2018 chart, and so naturally people are going to be identifying buy positions at this level, not by going back to 2018 and seeing how those levels were respected, especially because, like I said, Bitcoin just said a fuck you to all of those levels, and so it's not even relevant. Question, for the remaining bears, what is your lowest price prediction for Bitcoin? Example, $1,500 Bitcoin. Human from Earth. I would certainly hope so. Yeah, I've been saying for a long time I think the bottom is in on the market. Yeah, I am bearish. Yeah, I do think that, the bear market isn't over in terms of pain with time, but I do think the bottom is in at $3,100, and I think this move to the upside has confirmed it more than anything else could have. If we find support at the $6,000 level, then that's all the confirmation you need. We're not even going to see 3,000 again. But if we do go down, because we've rallied by so much, what you're going to have is fear of missing out, where people are going to be looking at this level that, and crypto Twitter and many crypto YouTubers at these points were calling for ridiculous price levels, like, very, very low price levels at a time where, now if we were to go back down to these price levels, we know that we had the potential to rally all the way up to $7,600. Does that mean that there is a decent chance that people are going to be willing to buy on the next chance that we go down to these levels? Absolutely, yes. I do think that's the case. And you know what? I think that's already what happened in 2015. I think that's already what happened when we had this massive rally. People were very excited to be buying at these levels because this is the place we had a previous bear flag. Obviously, it didn't break to the downside, it broke to the upside. But this was the time that we had previous consolidation. And so the next time we came down to this level, because we showed that we still had potential to rise higher, and because the people trading around this time were more interested in the fundamentals and the tech was bloody amazing, is bloody amazing, even right now, there were people that were ready to buy. And this happened not only the second time around, but also the third time around. And it's just confirmed at every single point there. And like I said, if we're going to continue to follow the same characteristics, I think that the bottom is already in. I've been saying that for months now. Okay, you asked me about other people. There are other people that still think we're going to hit new lows. I think it's a little bit unreasonable to be expecting those things right now, but each to their own. In terms of the low predictions we have, they haven't changed. For the people who still think 3,100 wasn't the bottom, those predictions are still, 2,200, 1,800, 1,300, 700, 500. These are the predictions that we still have going around the space, and that hasn't really changed. Nothing would really change that. And there are always going to be bears at the bottom. There are always going to be bulls at the top. It's just how the market goes. That's why we have shorts and longs that are filling. I got another question about Binance, which I already answered. Let's see. I think. Wow, a lot of comments on the spam filter. Barely anyone uses Huobi in Korea. Okay, you live in Korea. Okay, Stefan, I don't know how you say that. That makes sense. I guess in that case, then it was a case of wash trading, which is definitely very plausible. Any thoughts on Ripple? Yes, it's absolutely dying. I plan on trading it for a short, although it does also look like a good long, although it has looked like a good long for the last 50% that it's dumped. Haji6, I want a 30k Bitcoin. I also want a 30k Bitcoin. That would be really fun. Is it foolish to sell? Never, especially if you're on a profit, no. Where to trade with leverage if you're in the States. I'm making a tutorial on Kraken.com. I'm going to be showing you guys how to use Kraken. Expect that in the next few days or weeks. That is an exchange you can be using in the US in most states. I believe it's blocked in New York. And then you have a few other alternatives like 1Fox and 3 Commas and I think that's it. Yeah, so those are some of the options. And then, of course, if you want to trade on the exchange I'm using for international traders, you can hit up the BitMEX link in the description down below. You'll get a discount on fees. And, of course, it does help out the channel as well. When Binance starts leverage trading, will the prices pump or dump? Mighty, I don't think Binance leverage trading is going to have any adverse effect on the market. People who can leverage trade on Binance would probably already be doing it on BitMEX and various different things like that, and leverage trading is very normal now, so I don't think a new leverage trading site is going to change anything. The deal with leverage, though, the deal with margin trading is that you can make money to the downside. It's another reason that I think the bear market isn't over. The way to profit now is not just by buying and holding as prices rise. You can make money by betting that the prices are going to go lower. And with that in mind, you've now got an additional I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions of people or whatever that are using Binance, who, apart from US citizens most likely, will be able to leverage trade. You've just got more opportunities to short. And so when you look at it like that, if we start to dump by the time leverage trading is introduced, I think it's only going to make the dumps more violent. But on the whole, I don't think it's going to do too much. What else have we got? Alessio's latest video pretty good. I'm going to check that out, Chris. I was wondering what he would be saying about this. If it plunges through 64 to 6200, where do I expect the bounce? I expect the bounce at 5950, 5800, or 5500. Let's see what else we've got. What do I think about Ethereum? I've covered that. I am very bullish on Ethereum. I mean, if I was an investor, I would be loading up on Ethereum right now. I'm not an investor though, so I'll be leverage trading it and making more gains than the rest of the market. We take a look at the 7-day graphs and various different things like that, and nothing has really, if I'm not mistaken, moved by 80%, even in 7 days, whereas we pulled that, as I shared in VIP, in a few hours, in the matter of a day. And so this is what leverage trading does. It's why I'm sticking to leverage trading basically no matter what. And of course, the way to see all of that is by joining that group and gaining those insights, beating out the market with these gains with absolutely no shred of mercy, I believe is the right way to say it. No matter what happens, I'd still be enjoying the leveraged gains. Fallflies, you're in denial. I've considered it. Maybe I am in denial. Maybe I'm that one guy who can't let go of his feelings and is still in denial. And it's really hard to say because it's like, no, you basically, we can flip this on each other and say, no, you're in denial, and we can be chasing our tails around in circles. And so, with that in mind, I think it's literally just a case of, let's just wait and see what happens. Because I don't think it's very clear. If we go down to the low $6,000, that's going to be pretty telling. If we drop into the $5,000 range and we find some support there, depending on how we find support, maybe it turns out to be a descending triangle again, and that means we just end up dumping again, It really depends on how these patterns play out, but right now, it's very unpredictable. Especially, you're seeing these crazy dumps, you're seeing dumps at times where you wouldn't expect them, and pumps at levels that, TA wouldn't have been able to predict. I mean, there's always going to be one stray indicator that would say, look, something cool is going to happen, but, unless you have a strategy based off it, which you wouldn't, because those stray indicators are usually very unreliable, there is no way to predict some of the stuff that's happened in the market, and that is why it's been a very, very dangerous market. Very, very dangerous to navigate. Do I think something weird is going on after Binance hack and Tether FUD and the price is still dumping? Do you know what? It's something to think about. That's all I'll say. I probably can't say much about it. There is going to be some sort of censorship around those topics, so that's why I'm saying there's just something to think about. In all honesty, you guys know I don't pay too much attention to the news. The price action is real. At times like this, I will use fundamentals, for example, to tell me that Ethereum will be next after Bitcoin, but I wouldn't put too much weight on it, but it is still interesting. It is still something to just consider. I don't think it's a coincidence that this happens at the same time. So yeah, that's that. What else have we got? I think the majority of these questions have been expanded. I am ready to start heading off in a little bit. Was 6,000 not a significant support because the majority liquidated below 6,000 in the following months? Matt, I didn't understand that question, sorry. Hi, Fallflies, what do you think is next for Litecoin? Well, I think Litecoin's going to kind of follow what Ethereum is doing, although I don't have a specific time frame in mind for Litecoin because Litecoin just moves whenever the hell it likes. It's been very strong in the recent hours compared to other coins, and it is trading right at support right now. Oh, that hurts. Live. I believe I was live when I looked at Litecoin last time, and I told you guys this would be a level. I told you guys this would be a level to long, but I didn't long that. I'll talk to my analyst about that, see if we can do something there. Do you know, it doesn't even look like this level would hold. It looks like it's just going to kind of plunge through it like it did with these previous levels. It's just going to trade sideways awkwardly a little bit and then maybe bleed out a little bit lower. But yeah, I think eventually Litecoin's going to continue to rally higher. If this market cycle, if this market wave of being bullish lasts for another few months, which means if it's a significantly longer term trend than I originally anticipated, that would mean I think Litecoin is going to have a lot more breathing room to move in its own way at its own pace, and that's what Litecoin always does. So if it does manage to, if this market wave does manage to last significantly longer, that's going to open up the gates for Litecoin to do something interesting. When it does it, though, really, it's not easy. It's not easy to predict. It's not easy to say. Mark, great to see you in the chat. How are you doing? Sorry, that's a reply that's about 10 minutes late, but I am working through the chat in chronological order. Do I think money from Wall Street is flowing in at the moment? No, not really. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything crazy going on like that. I don't know though. Maybe OTC volume. Information on Litecoin. What about Ripple against USD? I don't look at those charts because I don't trade that on leverage. I know Binance, I know Bitfinex offers maybe Ripple leveraged on USD, but I don't want to analyze a chart that I've literally never seen before. Question, please look at stock RSI. I don't use the stock RSI, mate. I'm not very good with that. Question about leverage. Under this context, would you reduce or increase your leverage on BitMEX? Hello from Mexico. Hey, what's up, Dimitri from Mexico? I don't see why you would change your leverage at all. I am playing with slightly more leverage because back in 2018, I was ripping absolutely insane gains with VIP. I'm talking like very high 2 figures or low 3-figure profits consistently back in 2018 at these price levels, and so for that reason I'm comfortable using high leverage here, but that is not a game for everybody, and it's a play style that really needs to be learned. That's why I told you, if I did play a gap like this gap over here, I'd be trading it on something like 25 times leverage, and that would be a 60% profit, dropping about $200. It's crazy to be using leverage like that unless you really, really do know how. And these are the things that I do seek to teach. Lead by example and various different things like that. Hey, what's up, Fashad? Great to see you in the chat. Wealth Gainers, thank you for flies, much appreciated. Well, thank you very much for dropping by. Question, do you think this Monday we will be seeing a big dump from bankers and investors on Bitcoin? I covered that near the beginning of this live stream, and I don't want to say it again, so go ahead and rewind, and you can get an idea of what was going on there. I think it's quite unpredictable. What I would do is just probably not be in any positions and wait to see what happens, see how the CME opening in a few hours acts on the market, and various things like that. Ideas on Nano. I don't trade Nano. That's not a leverage coin, but let's take a look at it anyway. I want to laugh at it. Okay, so it's dropped the support level. Oh god, that's the drawing tool. Yeah, it's dropped the support level. No, it's right at the bottom of the support level, looking at this blue faint line. If it drops this, then it's, I think, dropping all the way down to all-time lows. But if Bitcoin does actually find some stability, this is a bloody amazing level to be buying from the way I'm seeing it. I would even, dare I say, consider buying something like this at this level. Potential resistance up ahead, 50% profit to get there, but it is looking at a parabolic potential run if alt season does start at a time like this, which I think the likelihood is quite high. He meant, is 6k now strong support, yes or no? I've covered that in this live stream. It's very nuanced, so you need to rewind and listen to what I said there. I think there is... Phone's absolutely blowing up. Oh my god. I think there is a decent chance that it could be good support, especially because we are finding support now at levels where we would expect to find support. But on the way up, we just shredded through 6,000 like it's nothing. And so with that in mind, it might not actually give us much support. So I don't know. We'll just wait and see. As we go down to those levels, if we go down there, I'll consider trading them, and we would go like that. Really like your videos. Your philosophies of thinking is very similar to mine. Keep up good work. Thank you very much from Portugal. I do appreciate that. I'm glad that we have a similar philosophy in trading there. It is always very good to meet like-minded people, but also, yeah, to talk to people who aren't very like-minded as well. Where are we? What is ups and downs on BitMEX? I have no idea what you're talking about. Ideas Nano. Okay, I answered that. What says Ichimoku? Let's take a look at that. Ichimoku, Bitstamp. We'll go on the Bitstamp chart. You know, I don't use the Ichimoku on the weekly chart, so first of all, let's look at it on the daily, and we're continuing to get a beautiful cloud. This cloud is very thin in terms of the width, but it's and in terms of the verticality as well. But nonetheless, the worst case scenario for Bitcoin. Oh, I don't know. I think it's still getting better on the whole with this Ichimoku cloud, but I would like to see this cloud continuing to give us support way down here in the high $4,000 level, not so much in the high 5,000s. It is good to be seeing the cloud potentially giving us some support at a level like this, but if we really do start to plunge, I would want to see that support at a lower level, because I don't think it would be a complete correction if we go down this low to say that the bear market is over. If we go down this low and bounce off this level, I don't think that's a deep enough correction, and that's why I would want to see the Ichi a little bit lower, but we're not getting that because we've been rising so quickly. On the weekly, yeah, it's starting to close up a massive area of resistance. You know, if we continue to go parabolic, we won't have too much trouble potentially breaking to the upside. I believe we even have like something like the 4 flies indicator saying we're bullish now on the weekly as well. But the deal is, weekly chart analysis is really difficult. It's really difficult to do weekly chart analysis on something like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is so, you know, it's slow. It's slower than we used to know it as, but it's still way too quick to be analyzing the weekly the way I see it, you know. So Ross commenting for the second time, only millionaires will hold Ripple in 2020. That's really funny because it's not true. But yeah, the Ichi cloud on the weekly, I don't think there's much you can read into that. You know, just bring up the 4 flies indicator real quick as well. You know, like I said, we are starting to get these bullish signs on the weekly. It literally says bullish. But you know, how valid is this? I was looking at this before. Oh god, this is disgusting. I'm sorry for that. I don't know why the chart's done that. Let's extend this a little bit. And what we've got are some nice... okay, so we got the bullish sign at the end of the bear market last time. And we're getting some nice continuation signals as well. But I don't want to give it much weight. I just don't think weekly analysis works that well at the moment. If you guys are looking for... Okay, go have a look at Digibyte. Yeah, no. What's the future of Bitcoin Cash? Yeah, like Blue Body said. Blue Somebody, rather. Bcash is trash. I'm gonna go with that. Thanks for all of the info you share. I can't read anymore. Oh my god, it's been too long. You and a few others are helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's helping you guys out. Yeah, I have looked at the Litecoin chart. You can rewind about 10-15 minutes and you'll see that. Yeah, okay, I think I've covered everything I wanted to. I've gone through the bulk of my analysis. I've covered a lot in this live stream, so I hope it wasn't an overload. It was good to go through your questions. I may do more of these. I'm still not completely convinced on if I'll make it a regular thing yet, but I'm open to the ideas there. Okay, a question from Todd in VIP from Virginia. Nice one. Okay, I see your question. You don't have to repost it. Update on the market psychology course. Yeah, so I'm still in the process of recording that. I will be posting updates in t.me/4flies-psychology. Let me type that out in the chat. t.me/4flies-psychology. So you can... You can't click on that link. You can type that out in the URL bar of Chrome, and you will see updates on that. I will be posting everything right there. With that, like I said, I've covered everything I wanted to. I've gone through the bulk of your questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that the spam filter is catching the majority of the idiots. It's really making my life a lot easier. And of course, make sure to hit up those likes before we do sign off here. Now, one final note, of course, if you do want to see how I've been booking these profits, if you do want to see the very in-depth VIP video, which is going to be coming up next, and of course, just gain access to the free insights I'm sharing in the free channel, where a lot of people are still making really good profits, up to 7,500 subscribers now, then do hit up the first link in the description down below. Click on the @4flies to send me a message and ask me how to join VIP, and then click on send message and just ask me how to join VIP, and we'll get you in the group. With that, I really hope you have enjoyed this one. Just take a final quick read through the comments. Question: when do I place my buy order? I don't know. Any thoughts on Neo and Dabs? I'll probably take a look at that in the next one. Not in the mood to do more analysis for the minute. It as not an overload. You make it more time. I don't understand what you said there. I think you mean you want more live streams. You should definitely keep on doing these live streams. They're super useful. Thank you very much from Netherlands. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I actually got a few comments about that. Not comments, Telegram messages. I didn't get people saying they don't want live streams, so maybe that means I should do more of them. But they're very taxing on me as well, so I have to consider that as well. It's a lot to be taking out an entire hour. How do I think how long do I think a sell-off from 5 to 4K could take? 5 to 4K could take. Well, it could either be very fast or very slow. If it's going to be like a blow-off top, if it's just going to be an absolutely disgusting sell-off, which is quite likely given how parabolic we went, then yeah, it would be fast. But the last time we went parabolic like this, the sell-off was very slow. It was very, very slow and annoying and painful. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know which side to take in that case. But yeah, those are the two scenarios and the reasons for those two scenarios. That's what I like to do quite often. Yeah, I think, the best case scenario for the market right now, the best case scenario would be trading sideways. Bitcoin trading sideways and altcoins really popping off. I think we are starting to see that a little bit. Bitcoin dominance has been dropping. Okay, it's just regained a little bit. It's regained 0.1%, but it was up to 59%. I still want to see it 60% just for my own personal satisfaction. But yeah, I think we could start to see a bit of that Bitcoin money flowing into altcoins. And then getting a bit of a rally in the altcoin market. And of course, you guys know what that means. I do think Ethereum is going to be moving really well. With that, though, I am going to be signing off. So thank you all for dropping by. Let's hit up those likes one more time. Of course, if you are new to the channel, do subscribe. I hope that some of you have used this as a podcast, because it makes my day to know that my voice is in the background of your life. It's really creepy and I love it. So do tell me if you're using it as a podcast when you're stuck on the A40 in London traffic or in LA traffic as well. I've heard that's pretty bad, or wherever in the world you are. If it's traffic and it's a podcast, then that's a happy moment. So yeah, I'm gonna be heading off with that one. Have a great day. All right, bye bye.